Every morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is pray and read scripture. But the very next thing that I do after I get out of bed is I read a statement, a series of statements. I have them right here. They're handwritten, 3 pages in total. I read it every morning. And it gives me clarity, it gives me confidence, it helps with discipline. This is the beginning, in a lot of ways, to getting control of your life and really feeling like you're starting to approximate your potential. I want to share with you what this process is and how to implement it yourself here in this video. All right, so we're going to break this down into 3 steps. Number 1 is consider what you want. Number 2, write it down. And number 3, systematize your process for burning it into your subconscious. Let's begin by understanding what the process is. If you are struggling with discipline or with clarity or with direction, the first question to ask is, what do I want? Without a clear understanding of what it is that you want or where it is that you want to end up, you have no anchor tethering you to the kinds of actions that you should be taking every day, the kind of direction that you want to be moving toward. With no anchor, you're going to be tossed to and fro by all the noise of the day-to-day. People will ask you for things, people will suggest things, and if you don't know who it is that you are and what it is that you want, what direction it is that you're heading, all of those pressures are going to shape you into something that you didn't necessarily consent to. The last thing I'll say on this is that this is a process. Don't have the false expectation that you can ask yourself this question once and then be done, because you know, okay, well, I've done it once and I'm good. What you want will change. It'll be uncovered as you discover who it is that you are, what it is that you value. It's part of growing up, I suppose. But it's also an active process that I think a lot of people, even when they're old, have still not gone through. Step number 2 is write it down. And this is very simple. It's easy to imagine our goals, right? But there's something about putting it into writing that just makes it real. If you have a goal, but you don't write it down, what you really have is a dream. Okay, finally, systematize your process. What I mean by this, I don't see this talked about as much. I remember hearing from voices like Brian Tracy, write your goals down and then read them every day. But I was like, where? How? And what exactly am I writing? Well, there's no perfect process. You're free to make this process your own. And that's part of the beauty of it. But there are a few things that no matter how you shape your process, it should include these things. Number 1 is a long-term focus. Now, I talk about systematizing short-term goals in other videos, but for your written list that you're planning to read routinely, either first thing in the morning like I do, or for every last thing you do every night, maybe both, some kind of systematized place that you're focusing on your most important, most long-term goals. This is what you should be focusing on, is who do I want to be? What do I want to have accomplished in 5 to 10 years is my recommendation. Number 2 is using affirmative language. Okay, so what this means is that you put your goals in the present tense and in the affirmative tense. So for example, in 5 years, I weigh X amount of pounds. by the end of 2027, I earn X amount of dollars doing X, Y, and Z. It's an assuming language. And then finally, number 3, give it a home in your routine. Writing it down puts you ahead of most people. But if you really want to go the extra mile, systematizing your process by giving a specific time of the day and a specific place that it's going to occur, your rereading of your process, your rereading of your goals, is really going to take you to that extra mile. Cool. So we've seen a little bit of the philosophy. Let's dive in now more into the actual system itself. I like to begin with identity. And what I mean by that is, we're talking about affirmative language here. Before getting into your goals, the very first page that I begin with is a series of statements that affirm the kind of person that I want to be. So for example, I am strong. I am confident. I am direct. I am decisive. Again, there's no perfect way to do this. The key is that it speaks to you. It speaks to where you are, who you are, and who you want to be. Next up is long-term vision. Right now, as I'm recording this, it is May of 2025, and I chose for my long-term vision roughly 10 years. And the reason I'm picking 2036 to begin this set of goals. The reason I chose 2036 is because that's the year that I turn 40, and so it's approximately 10 years, and it's a very significant milestone, I think, for me, that it's good to aim for. I've kicked around the idea of having different goals and then having each one have a date within it, but I thought it was easier for me to just pick a deadline, or like a dead year, a goal of how long I'm thinking with respect to the long-term vision, and then by that year I want to accomplish this, I want to accomplish this, I want to accomplish this. And so for me, here are some of the examples. Now remember, this is a process, and these goals will change, they'll evolve as you continue to grow. 10 years is a long time. I mean, think about how long ago, even 3, 4, 5 years ago feels, and then consider that that's less than half the time of this long-term vision. These goals will almost certainly change as you continue to learn and grow, and your tastes change, and you meet people, and life happens. But just having this as an anchor that gives you a sense of direction, and you're generally moving in a particular direction, even if it changes a little bit along the way, or it changes a lot, it doesn't matter. Having this as a process, having this system in place so that you know and have in front of you those things that you want in the long term really helps you to keep that sense of direction and control. Okay, and the last one here is midterm vision. For this one, again, it's May of 2025 right now. I chose the end of 2027 to aim for. So roughly 3 years, 2.5 years. Some examples for me, the things that I'm aiming for. So that's midterm goals, where we have a scope of about 2 to 3 years out. For an even shorter scope of focus, where we're planning goals for the current year and even narrower than that, I recommend checking out the following video that I just made about Notion and how I set up my Notion system for my current productivity system. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hasta la próxima, mis estudiantes.